Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico. We need to talk about this election in the Latino community, especially in the Spanish-speaking community, because, you know, the moms and the grandmas have a lot of influence. And I'm going to say this much. The content that I'm going to make is going to be completely in Spanish. I don't know if you work for the Jasmine Crockett campaign or the James Talarico campaign, but I am open. And one thing that I am noticing is that there's a lot of male Latinos that are endorsing Talarico, and I don't see enough people out there talking about Jasmine Crockett. And at the end of the day, only one person can represent the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, we do not have enough Latino voter turnout, and that has to change. The demography in Texas has changed for many, many, many years, but somehow there's still a stigma when it comes to voter participation. And that's probably because of political trauma that has plagued generations of Latino families, but let's not go there right now. And one thing is interesting. When we look at the stats from the presidential election, we know there was a lot of Latinos who voted for the Republican side, but we cannot lump all Latinos together. When you look at the data, it was male Latinos. And I have to question things because even though we're talking about two Democratic candidates, I have to go back and look at what was the reasoning for the big shift in voter turnout. It wasn't the Latinas, it was the male Latino. And I cannot help but to really look at things from a variety of perspectives when I look at Jasmine Crockett and I look at James Talarico. And I have to ask myself, knowing what I know about the Latino community and the attitudes towards a lot of different things, because it's not always going to come down to economics. It's not always going to come down to God. And the one thing that I can say is that I am thankful that there are two strong candidates where the decision is not going to be an easy one for many people. For others, it will be. I honestly think that there is going to be a point where a Democrat is going to have to ask themselves what kind of Democrat they are. Are they a progressive Democrat or are they not a progressive Democrat? We need to continue holding both candidates to the fire in terms of content and their position. The debate was a starting point. I know both are developing relationships with the Latino community. And I know that at the end of the day, we don't turn out in big numbers to vote, but that has to change. And that's why I started a different channel called Aula Digital, Serie Cívica, because we don't know enough information about civics. And I can tell you that a lot of people rely or assume that public schools are going to take care of this aspect of education, but they're not. Yeah, we have a state curriculum. But at the end of the day, local governance, state governance, and even at the national level, we could do a way better job. So if you're interested in my take about this particular election and you don't speak Spanish, well, then turn on your captions and maybe you get some translation. If you have any kind of information you would like to share with me, please send it my way. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen very little content in the Latino community on the social media platforms regarding this primary election. And the things that I have seen from prominent people has been very much in favor of James Talarico. I'm not taking sides on social media, but what I am saying is I have to question why. Why is one candidate appealing to male Latinos? I have to question it because it's not going to come down to economics. And that is what concerns me, because we need to look at a lot of substantive things. And then we also have to look at strategy. And one thing that has come up has had to do with the down ballot. And that's such a significant component here in the state of Texas, because for a long time, it's been a Republican state. And even though we have Houston, we have El Paso, we have Austin, we have different segments in the state has not flipped. But again, it goes back to strategy. So yeah, we'll see what comes out of this little series between now and the primaries. But all I can say is I am thankful that there are two solid candidates that will make this decision not easy, but difficult for many. And that's a good thing, because we can never let critical thinking go extinct. Absolutely not. Critical thinking is not as common as you think. And the way the algorithm works on these social media apps, man, they really do not want us to think. They want to tell us what to think, but we're not going to fall for it.